right, we're back. Last Call Sports Podcast here, wrapping up week 2 of the NFL. Some fantasy takeaways from this week that I saw. So, Zach Moss absolutely dominating the backfield in Indy. That's a massive takeaway there. Jahmyr Gibbs sees his role increase this week. So that's cool to see because I know a lot of fantasy owners last week were pretty pissed off to see the amount of production that he had last week. I wouldn't be worried about right now with either Jamar Chase or Jacobs. Up for discussion. Brian Robinson. He's that guy. I have Brennan over here trying to tell me that he's only getting 50% of production when he's over here getting 95% of the carries, and Antonio Gibson is absolutely...
I didn't say he's not getting all...
Absolutely invisible right now. And then on to the next one, C.J. Stroud. He did pretty well this week. That's going to definitely lead to production for that wide receiver core. Kyron Williams, definitely a must grab. Must grab off the waiver. His production went way up. Chicago's backfield shrinks. Yeah. Puka, making history. What a guy. Hunter Henry and Zach Ertz. Production pretty good for a tight end that's usually not drafted. So let's hear any takeaways from this week.
A lot of contradicting stuff to what you just said.
Hey, that's fine. Let's hear it.
Let me cover one thing.
Yeah.
Brian Robinson is getting 50% of the snaps. He's on the field 50% of the time. So that's all I was saying is that he's not your average bell cow back. He's only getting 50% of the snaps. But he is getting a lot of carries in a very powerful offense now.
Powerful.
It is. Mm-hmm. They got the OC from Kansas City Chiefs, and you look at their offense compared to Washington's offense now. He's changed things around.
Fair.
Sam Howell looks great. Okay?
I would consider 95% snap carriage bell cow.
He's not down there on third downs.
95% of the time he's out there.
Not on third downs.
The fucking water boy's out there 50% of the time.
I'm just saying. That was all I was, and you can look it up. It's 52% last week he got. All right? But next thing that I want to, off of all your takes right there that you took, Josh Jacobs and Jamar Chase. I'd be worried about Jamar Chase because Joe is not right now, and they're talking about maybe putting him on IR because he's re-aggravated that calf. Yeah, and so he's not right. So,
but he's still the best wide receiver on that team.
Oh, he is. But I mean, who's going to be throwing to him next time?
Bold take. Ryan Fitzpatrick is about to come out.
So I'm worried about him. Yeah. Josh Jacobs so far this year, I love him because he is a bell cow. He gets 100% of the work there.
Work or snap percentage?
Snap percentage, work, everything. Okay. But his problem is he is getting nowhere on his carries. Like I think his average yard per carry right now is like 1.5 yards right now.
Shit. It's
not very good. It's not very pretty. And they're going to be down a lot because their defense couldn't stop a cold. So they're going to have to be throwing a lot. So they've got some issues there. And then we can hit on some other stuff here in a minute. I know you're about to say something. So say what you need to say.
Is Monday Night Football cursed?
Yes. I think so.
My boy Kyler.
Can we go back on the last 4 Monday Night Football games? Man.
Kyler
tearing his ACL.
Damar Hamlin almost died.
Hamlin died. No, he did die.
He did die.
Man died.
He died.
What was the other one?
I have a really bad joke that I saw on Instagram.
Oh gosh.
Oh God.
It's really dark.
Well, let's hear it.
Aaron Rodgers wasn't the only Jet that went down on 9/11.
Oh, yeah, it's Rodgers, yeah.
Aaron Rodgers' Achilles.
Yep.
And
I thought that was bad. But
now we got Nick Chubb.
Yeah, Chubb's leg is MIA. His career's over.
I feel so bad for Nick Chubb because you already had to work like that. Average people don't understand how bad rehab sucks.
Oh, dude.
Especially for an injury like that where he probably... I never saw the actual injury, but I'm pretty sure he tore everything in his knee.
Well, just like a little medical background from that. Yeah. I mean, literally, the dislocation of the knee is so much worse than the dislocation of a kneecap. Yeah. You have a popliteal artery that runs behind your knee. That can cause so many problems vascular. The first thing you had to do for sure was probably go get an angiogram to see what's flowing down there. You're going to check pulses in the foot to make sure everything's pumping right. I mean, you got things that you're going to see later on down the road that can possibly lead to syndrome, compartment syndrome, and that can cause all sorts of issues too, which is an open wound. You literally got to just let it drain because of all the pressure and everything that comes with it. So, I mean, that's something that he might not ever come back from. Not to mention that the fact that he probably tore ACL, MCL, PCL, LCL, ACL, WCL, KCL, whatever, everything that's in the CLs. He probably tore everything. Meniscus is probably on the 50-yard line still. And he might never.
Obliterated.
Yeah, I mean, like, his knee is just absolutely fucked. I mean, like
His career
like, literally,
is, too.
Like, it probably would have been better if he just got shot.
I blame it on Deshaun Watson
Yes, you got to.
because he's having to run his dick in the ground because Deshaun Watson can't play football anymore. Deshaun Watson got beat off so many times.
Yeah.
He's forgotten how to throw the ball.
Yeah.
He's forgotten how to have poise.
Yeah.
He pushed a ref. He pushed a ref. Okay. He's got some issues.
Did y'all ever watch Blue Mountain State?
Yeah.
You remember the first season when they were trying to get I can't remember the running back's name now, trying to get him to beat off because he couldn't have sex with his girlfriend. That's what I compared Deshaun Watson to.
Deshaun needs to be beat
He
off.
hasn't been
looks
jerked off
stiff.
in a while, so now
He looks
forgot
stiff
how to
out
play
there.
He's stiff, I'm sure.
He looked as stiff as Najee Harris looked.
Well, that's, yeah.
You know, I'm glad y'all are bringing that up.
What, beating off or Deshaun Watson?
Just
Najee
let
Harris.
Let me
let
tell
him
you-
speak.
Let him
Let me
cook.
tell you a little something about Big Germ.
Oh, shit.
He's right a lot, but when he's wrong, he's not scared to admit it. My week 2 takeaways. Unfortunately, we're already having these takeaways this early. My guy is not it. For those of you listening for the first time, my guy was Deshaun Watson.
Mm.
I think my sleeper's still asleep. Once again, for those of you listening, my sleeper was Kenny Pickett.
Preseason
So for the
MVP.
first time last night in Monday
Yeah.
Night Football, I got to watch my sleeper and my guy battle it out, so to speak.
They would have been better off beating each other off. It was a horrible game. Hey,
Perhaps
Both games were.
that was one of the worst games of football I think I've ever watched. Just from a
so many chances in my fantasy matchup this week. I really did.
well,
What did I
don't,
tell
hey,
you
talk
last
about
night?
Najee too. Go ahead while you're talking about those other two. Talk about
I told you
Najee.
yesterday before we left. I said I needed 60 points combined between Deshaun Watson, Najee Harris, and George Pickens. And George Pickens
George
showed
got
out.
you.
Yeah.
Well, he showed out, but dude, that was the one thing. We were playing George Pickens in our league. Dude had one catch for
71 yards and a
71
touchdown.
yards, and then he had 2 other catches, right? He had 3 catches.
He
that game?
finished at, 104 yards?
Yeah,
104 yards
it was
and a
like
touchdown?
21 fantasy points.
From
But go ahead and finish what you're
From
saying.
what I
Hey, did you see
needed.
him kick that guy in the air though?
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
From what I needed, he did the work. But damn, Deshaun Watson, every chance you could ask for from a production standpoint. Had 4 turnovers, 2
Yeah.
interceptions, 2 lost fumbles.
And then he fought a ref.
And Najee, as much as I hate to admit it, because I drafted him as a rookie. We're in a dynasty league, by the way. Jalen Warren looks better.
Yeah, he's what?
lot
Dude, that
better.
misdirection
What
run
we
that
said at the
shit out
beginning of the
back.
year,
I mean,
we
Especially
both
out
said
of
it.
the backfield.
Jalen Warren was the
Warren.
guy to have in the backfield.
He
there.
does.
We have been so right on a lot of things, not to pat ourselves on the back, but
Yeah, we better
a
not.
lot.
literally Nico Collins, Jalen Warren,
Travis Etienne.
Travis Etienne, Elijah Moore was another one that we saw was sneaky.
But
He leads
had
him in targets.
9
Yeah.
targets last night?
Yeah.
He had 8 targets the first game.
Yeah, I mean, dude, we said it.
I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the last week before the season started, I came up here and said something about Kyron Williams as well. That I like Kyron Williams over Cam Akers.
Yeah,
Hey,
you did.
you want to tell me something? You want me to tell you something about heartbreak? In the month of July, I picked up both Kyron Williams and Puka Nakua. Picked them both up, and I let them sit on my bench for a whole week. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to drop Kyron Williams because I think they're talking so much about Cam Akers. I'm going to drop and I'm going to pick up Jerome Ford. Got Jerome Ford. All right. And then I was like, you know what? Nick Chubb's not getting hurt. I'm going to drop Jerome Ford. And I picked up, I don't even know who, probably not even on my team anymore.
I think you picked up Rashid Shaheed, and I think you dropped him
I
too.
picked up Rashid Shaheed, yes, and then have dropped him. And then Puka Nakua, I just dropped him because I had to make room on my actual roster. And I just want to say that I made the right calls, but I second-guessed myself.
Well,
And
I'll
so-
tell you this. I had my 18-month-old come Tuesday morning out on the front of the yard with a lemonade stand because Allen Robinson doesn't know how to catch fucking 3 balls in a game. trying to make some money back in that Monday night.
What about Bryce Young? How many completions did you need? 18?
18, he got it.
Well, I know, but
That
how
last drive.
hard were we sweating
That
18
last game,
completions?
yeah, dude, my thing is, I just don't understand that. Why not go ahead and he's a rookie quarterback. He played well last week.
What did he
Hey,
finish?
time out. No, this is my take on Bryce Young. And I've seen all this stuff on Twitter and TikTok and everything, talking so much shit about Bryce Young and saying he's too little. He can't throw
I
the
love
deep ball.
Bryce Young.
Bryce Young looked great in that game. Like, he made all the right plays. That whole drive to end the game right there where he had Adam Thielen for a touchdown and then Adam Thielen for another 2-point conversion.
What was it that out route? He threw that perfectly before he even cut out of that.
yeah.
That Adam Thielen finished on like the 2 or 3 yard
He
line.
played great, and he was hitting all the little out routes to be able to get out of bounds. Like, he drove, like, that was a professional drive that he had to end the game. The only problem with that offense is he doesn't have enough time to be able to let anybody get down the field more than 15 yards, or he could hit somebody. And then the people that they have going down the field, a rookie in Mingo, who's not creating any separation right now. And he's also
52-year-old Adam Thielen.
Adam Thielen, who's going to run little out routes and cross routes just to be safe. And then the other guy's DJ Chark playing on, half a leg. So,
You got
Shark
Hurst out there too.
Hurst and Thielen. If I'm a fantasy team and Hurst or Thielen is on the waiver wire, just because there are some people out there that don't have them because they're like, I'm not picking up those old men.
Pick him up for the
Pick
culture.
him up because those are going to be the 2 favorite targets throughout the year because he's not going to get anything past 15 yards. And those are those safety routes right there. And then also Chuba Hubbard is also a solid pick because if you've seen the snap percentages on him, he's equal with Miles Sanders right now.
Yeah, I needed 7 yards from Miles Sanders last night, and he would have gotten it that last drive because Chuba got, 12? Yeah.
Yeah, and he's also getting a lot of the receiving work too.
A lot.
Because it's just little dink and dump. That's all they can do right now.
Well, my thing is too is that another thing on the opposite side, Saints. You got Michael Thomas out there that was out targeting Olave head and toe.
Resurrection.
Oh, dude, yeah, and Olave looked good. I mean,
see
he
that
made
catch?
that one catch that was
Yeah, that one
nasty,
catch.
and he would have had a tutty. He stepped out on like the 5 yard line, which killed us. In that co-managed league,
It killed me too.
yeah, we ended up losing that.
I mean, it
because of
didn't
that.
kill me. I still beat the shit out of Kyle.
But my thing is, top waiver wire targets that you're targeting this week. Who would you say?
I mean, if Puka's still there, it's Puka.
Jerome
Ford.
Ford, Kareem Hunt, because he's gonna sign somewhere.
Would you see that
You think he's going to the Brown? They're going to
dude? They better. They're. I don't
He's
know if
either
they're
going
gonna
to
have
the
enough money.
Browns or the Saints.
He's in Cleveland today.
I
Yeah.
could see the Saints picking him up because now Jamal Williams is out and they've got a whole nother week of
What
Kamara
about
being
the
out.
Ravens?
They said they're happy with Justice Hill and Gus Edwards.
Yeah,
And Justice Hill has looked pretty good.
yeah.
And Gus Edwards, hey, I saw a stat the other day. So Nick Chubb is like 4th or 5th all time, I think, of yards per carry, like average across his career. And it was like the 6th person was like Gus Edwards. And nobody talks about Gus Edwards. But I mean, he's a solid runner, runs hard.
On the
now
same.
you say it. A few weeks ago up in the office, you were like, drop that.
Well, when J.K. Dobbins was healthy,
Is he in your league?
I got him. I said
Yeah.
he was a handcuff
I
in
said
case something.
that.
I said he was a handcuff in case something happens to J.K. Dobbins. And what happens week 1?
I got rid of a first round pick for J.K. Dobbins. at the
J.K.
beginning of this
Dobbins
year.
was going to be a bell cow back this year.
He looked hella good.
He
He
looked good.
did. He looked great.
Was.
I feel bad for him. Kinda.
And a
all
man
the
had a
injuries
set of
this
balls,
year-
She was going to be my uncle.
Well, all the injuries this year have been really bad so far.
Have you noticed it's all happened to the guys that said they were going to hold out over the offseason?
Read off the rankings that you brought up to me.
Oh,
today.
I'd have
That
to
was
find it. I know that it
Jacobs
was.
is next.
Well, it was talking. Well, he's averaging 1 yard a carry, so I guess
It doesn't
that's his
matter. They'd
hell.
probably be better.
You can't turn
Bring
that
in
many
Zamir
things in the
White.
yard.
But it was talking about, it said 0 quarterback, 0 running back, 0 wide receiver, 0 tight end because your QB1 is Kirk Cousins. QB2 was
Jordan Love.
Love's been great.
Running back, it was Kyron Williams and I can't remember who
Brian
the second one
Robinson.
was. That's who it was, Brian Robinson. And then you had
Wide receiver.
Puka.
Jefferson's 3. I know that because I
He's
looked.
the only one
It
who-
was Nico Collins with 7.
Yeah. Jefferson's really the only guy that was drafted really in the first
CeeDee Lamb?
round. That's CeeDee Lamb's
Well,
still
CeeDee
crazy
Lamb,
too.
but-
Yeah, I forgot about him.
I'll say this about CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb looks like a monster. He hit the weight room this summer. That dude looks huge.
He looks
now.
good.
Dak looked good the other day.
No, hey, It's time to have a conversation. If Dak just played the same Jets team that the Bills played, and we saw what the Bills did to Josh Allen, Dak, 0 interceptions, looked absolutely amazing.
I see where he's going with this.
And I said earlier this year, I said, look, I'm not saying he's better, but he's very close. And people shit on Dak, but Dak and Josh Allen, there is a hair difference in the two. And I think it's the younger and more legs than Josh Allen, but I think Dak is just as good of a passer.
We were talking about
Sorry, I was choking just like Dak Prescott will later in the year.
Josh Allen chokes.
I didn't.
I'm
say
just
he
saying,
didn't.
I'm
he's a big
comparing the
robust
two.
guy. He's a big robust guy. He's led the NFL in touchdowns and turnovers.
Yeah. I'm just saying it's time to have that conversation. And it's just because if there's a star on the side of Dak's helmet, if you put Dak in Buffalo, everybody would love Dak just like they love Josh Allen. But people hate the Cowboys, and that's the reason they hate Dak.
Yeah, Dak has surprised me this year. I will say that. Dak looks very good.
He does it every year. It looks good to start.
He hasn't
Can
really
he finish?
choked either, though. He choked 1 year. The other years he's been hurt. They had a terrible defense. I mean, this year it's set up for them to win. Their defense could win alone. Like if they didn't even have an
the
offense,
defense.
if they didn't put their offense out there,
You know who doesn't play defense? Dak Prescott.
and look at him offensively. I told you earlier this year that career-wise, Dak Prescott, out of all the active quarterbacks, Dak Prescott has the highest QB rating inside the red zone out of all the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
That's playoffs and regular season. So fuck y'all.
There's another first rounder that we're forgetting about that's playing pretty well. Brennan's
Tyreek
boy.
Hill.
Well, Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, did y'all see
That
where
offense is
Tua-
made for Christian McCaffrey, and Christian McCaffrey is made for that offense.
That is correct. And everybody thought I was crazy. Some guy even commented on there and said, "Don't take advice from somebody wearing a Kyler Murray jersey." Screw
Which
it.
that's still fair, but
That is still fair.
No, Kyler's coming back. He's gonna be good.
Those are two things that are true. You know what else is pretty common with the number two? That's how many playoff games Dak Prescott has won in his career.
I think Kyler lost his job Saturday. I see y'all, my boy Josh Dobbs.
That man looked like Michael Vick out there.
He did. He did look like Prime Vic. Hey, this comes back to the theory too. I had to say earlier about the Cardinals.
Not tanking.
They're not tanking. They're not. That's why they brought in Josh Dobbs. Like they're actually playing, and they're gonna bring. They're not.
Well, Josh
tanking for that
Dobbs
first pick.
is also exceeding expectations too.
Yes,
That's
but
fair.
they got him over Clayton Tune and Colt McCoy when everybody said Colt McCoy was the better quarterback to have there.
While
I'm
we're
just
talking
saying.
about Josh Dobbs, and we're going to Tennessee, have we confirmed if Will Levis and Pierre broke up?
She's on the market.
I don't know y'all sources.
Snapchat,
TikTok.
Contradicting.
All
Twitter.
I'm saying is she made a smart move because
He broke up with her.
Well, that really.
Yeah.
You know what that means?
He's smoking something. That
locked
that
in.
mayonnaise is getting to him.
Well, you know what that means? That means
What?
he's locked in, ready to roll.
Yep, he's locked in.
We did say that we thought that Will Levis would have the most successful career out of
I did.
He.
me.
You
You.
say career.
I
You
said
said
this
year one.
I said career.
You said career.
Well,
You said career. You think out of all these quarterbacks,
CJ Stroud looked good this
whole
week.
career. That's a lot.
And, I don't know anymore because Anthony Richardson looks damn
But my
good.
thing is,
Anthony Richardson looked great.
they have to have a talk with him. They have to have the talk that they had with Josh Allen, but Josh Allen just did not listen.
About
it's
running?
it's just about running
Well,
and
learn to
protecting your
slide.
body.
did you see what the coach said today?
He loves it.
He said Anthony Richardson will continue to run. Like that's what he's built
I mean,
for.
I
He
want
will.
him to
Well, they don't have a
continue to
running
run.
back.
They don't need a running back.
He's either saying, "Yeah, go ahead and run. We're just going to risk it for the biscuit, and if you get hurt, you get hurt, and we're just going to go from there."
It goes back to my point of Gardner Minshew is hands down the best backup quarterback in the league.
By far.
And one of the best interviewers of all time.
And a
Best
nice-
mustache of all time too.
Premium mustache.
Yeah, he's good. I like him, dude. Whenever he was in Jacksonville, we would go out for games. Everybody's dressed up,
Had the mustache.
aviators, mustache, cutoffs,
I love it.
blue jean shorts. It was a thing.
Hey, I love it. But back to that game, though, the Indiana-Houston game
Mm-hmm.
from this past week. C.J. Stroud is already the best Ohio State quarterback in the league right now.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Fields is ass still and will continue to be ass.
I just
I hope
don't
he figures it out. I just don't
understand who Chicago hires as offensive coordinators. Did we not watch the last 6 games?
Jimbo Fisher type.
Did we not watch the last 6 games of the season last year? I think I saw a stat yesterday that said in the last 6 games, Justin Fields had like 30 designed runs for like 400 yards, 7 touchdowns, something like that. He's had 3 designed runs in 2 games.
And he's still throwing for under 200 yards. Hey, and following up on that game too, Baker,
He looked good.
if it wasn't for DeMar Hamlin, Baker would be comeback player of the year this year because that team, they might make the playoffs this year.
Are the Browns regretting letting Baker go for Deshaun Watson?
No, it's
my
just the
thing is
Browns
that
curse.
one play he
Browns
made where
curse.
he's like diving and throwing it. If that was Patrick Mahomes, that would have been on everywhere.
Oh,
You would have not seen that this weekend.
Yeah,
Even
and
if
then
you
he-
didn't like football.
And then he ran over that kid and said, "Get your weight up, little boy." All right, Baker's.
feeling dangerous.
I love Baker. Rashad White is that
boy.
guy.
He's
And
getting
hey,
that's another one we were on.
yep, what we say is that
James Cook too. He was on it.
Yeah,
Is
let's
that
get to that one.
Rashad White was going to get all the checkdowns from Baker. Rashad White has been heavily involved in the passing game so far.
Mm-hmm.
Heavily.
I agree. We were big on Rashad White. That was one of our guys, pretty much my guys that we were targeting every single draft that we took. Try to get him because his ADP was just way too low.
I want to point out that we weren't. Brennan and Gruber were. Logan was talking a lot of shit
Richard
about
White.
Rashad White. No, about calling him what'd you call him? Richard White.
Richard.
Yeah. So you're not going to jump on this bandwagon right now, okay?
That's fine. I got him on a fantasy team though.
Well, on my bandwagon, this whole Travis Etienne thing, what about Tank Bigsby getting 0 carries?
Which I don't understand that at all because of how good he looked last week.
Yeah. And Etienne comes up with a questionable tag this week after he ran so hard. And
Well, did you see
hurt.
did you see what the injury is?
What?
He left that game with cramps.
needs to eat more Medanas.
So he needs to talk to Will Levis.
Definitely menstrual.
But yeah, that's the injury was cramps. He left that
What's
game
Will
with
Levis
cramps.
gonna give him? Mayonnaise?
Bananas.
Gia?
He's been
Hey, that's a comeback player of the year.
Yeah,
That's lining up.
G is the top waiver wire ad right now.
she is. She is the top waiver wire ad.
What do you
I
think?
love it.
What do you think about life, Big Jerm? What do you think about it?
I talked a little shit about Deshaun Watson a minute ago, but I really still can't figure out. I can't figure out if it's rust or he'll just never come back because some of the throws he made last night were like, holy cow, only a NFL quarterback can make that. But some of those guys were.
Well, Deshaun Watson set a
wide
record
open.
last night, right? He's the only quarterback ever with 2 face mask penalties.
Yeah. And fought a ref.
That was cool.
But back to what you're saying, if it was under 10 yards and it was a little slant route, beautiful pass, in the money, on the pocket, everything. But if it was over 20 yards, if it was, it was. If it
And the money on the pocket.
Yeah.
The money on my pocket.
on the money in the pocket, yeah. I got my words to it. I'm dyslexic. But if it was over 20 yards, you don't know where that ball was going.
No. Well, you saw that one he threw out of bounds. It was like 20 yards out of bounds.
He was trying to hit Cooper on the sidelines, and it wasn't anywhere close.
He might have hit a Cooper, but he was sitting 5 rows up.
Yeah, his 5th row.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
What about that Pats fan that died at that game? Did y'all see that?
And that's so sad.
It's sad.
He got into a fight, right?
Yeah, fight
the
with
guy,
a
like-
Dolphins fan.
Well, he brought up the fight too.
Oh,
Yeah.
he didn't finish it.
No, he didn't.
He's
Rip.
finishing something, but that's
Rip.
sad.
Yeah, he started the fight though. But 30-year-long Pats fan,
Season ticket holder
season ticket holder.
got into a fight with Dolphins fan.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Hey, Dolphins are legit.
Yeah, we've been.
Hey, and Tagovailoa right now.
Leading the MVP voting.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
And Tyreek is unguardable.
Waddle's in concussion protocol, though.
Waddle is, but Tyreek's unguardable.
Braxton Berrios looks good.
He does. Barrios
like-
looks really good.
Maybe not like a fantasy standpoint, but like
Hey, you want to talk about fumbling the bag too? He fumbled the bag earlier this year.
Is he the one that had the girl that cheated
Yeah,
on
Alex.
him with the
they
18-year-old?
were just
Yeah.
friends, he said.
Nah,
That's what he says.
he fumbled.
I'd say the same thing.
Just friends.
But
I bet that's Will Levis's excuse too. They're just friends.
hey, speaking of Dolphins, you see Xavier Howard got 4 women pregnant too.
Yeah, what about that?
Yeah,
At the same time?
yeah. He's out here acting like he got NBA money.
That's Zion.
Yeah, he ain't got NBA money.
God, what?
NFL money is a little different.
Man's populating the world.
Yeah, yeah. 4 different women at the same time.
Man.
That's who's it? Drew Brees that had Phillip Rivers that
Phillip
had
Rivers.
12
Except
kids.
that was with one woman.
Yeah.
Xavier Howard's going to do it with 4 different
Four.
ones
That's that
I
Zion
wonder if that's ever
Williams.
been done before.
at the same time,
How
too.
like if a guy's like, yeah, I'm expecting to have a kid or kids. He's like, how many kids you have? 4.
I don't know. Who's the wild and out guy?
Nick Cannon?
Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon's got 32 baby mamas.
Does he really?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
got a lot.
He said that's what he was put on earth to do.
Populate?
He's done it.
Dang.
Dad play them drums.
He
Maybe
said-
I missed my call.
He said it's the Lord's work. But all right, back to fantasy football though, because I'll get sidetracked on Nick Cannon. All right,
They're talking about Mariah Carey.
yeah, I'm not even gonna hit on that, but
I would.
oh, okay, fair enough. What would you give up? Hey, what would you give up right now to acquire Kyron Williams or Puka Nakua?
Nothing, because I drafted Kyron.
But I'm saying it for people out there who want to get them.
Like how much fab money?
No. They're on somebody's team now. Both of them are. What would you be willing to trade? What would you find a fair trade for both of them? Reason I'm asking is I'm trying to trade somebody for them right now.
I don't know. It's tough because, it just depends.
I'm not getting crazy with it.
I wouldn't get
We're
crazy.
2 weeks in.
2 weeks in, like I said, it's all going to even out eventually. Like at the end of the year, Jordan Love is not going to be QB2. At the end of the year.
At the end of the year, no, he's not. But
This
he's
is when
going to be a
people
top 10
overreact.
QB, I
This is when
think.
people overreact. You got to go against the trends. Honestly, if you want to set yourself apart, you got to go against the trends.
I agree. But Puka Nakua,
He's doing things people have never done.
well, you know the routes that he's running? So I looked at a visual of all the routes that he's running. He is lining up everywhere on the field. There's no rhyme or reason to where he's going. And you know what route tree that is pretty much?
Cooper Cup.
Cooper Cup. He is in the Cooper Cup position right now.
But when is Cooper Cup expected to be back?
4 weeks.
When
So 2 more weeks.
Yeah.
is he going to be the same when he comes back? Because apparently it ain't right still.
Yeah, and that's what we just said at the beginning of the year, and that's why I was so not on the Cooper Cup train.
And he's 31.
31 years old, hamstring injury, soft tissue injury is going to linger.
So Nakua running the Cooper route role. I mean, I find that very valuable. I think
It's
I find Nakua a lot more valuable than most people do right now because I'm thinking about the future.
Throughout the if you're in Dynasty, yeah, for sure, but and especially like redraft, I think that whenever Cooper Cup comes back, I could still see Nakua being that wide receiver 1 role because of the deep ball threat, and he might be the guy that gets the touchdowns.
I mean, think about having 2 Cooper Cups on the team.
Yeah, but they're not comparable. I don't think you can compare they're not the same player. I don't think.
I think they're very similar in the way that they play. Very similar. Very tough. Not your most athletic player. Very smart. Great route runner. Great hands. That's what Cooper Cup made his living was. I mean, he has the best hands in the league, maybe. He does. Devontae Adams is the best route runner in the league.
There's a lot of good.
Deontay
Johnson, bad hands though. Deontay
Calvin
Johnson dropped a lot.
Ridley might be the best route runner in the league.
Calvin Ridley does look good.
Did anyone see that comeback route he ran
Why
the other
didn't
day?
he? What happened this past week with him?
A lot of. I think he had 2 end zone targets, and both of them he
Trevor-
caught it but stepped out of bounds.
No,
just
that
barely.
was Zay Jones.
Was it?
Yeah,
Trevor Lawrence was set to have one of the best weeks this week
yeah.
statistically.
Statistically, his position of being he was a 3-point dog, I think. 3-point dog on the road is like one of the fantasy quarterbacks
To hit on.
statistically best one to hit on.
That was another one though. That was just one of those
It's an
ugly
game.
games to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See Travis Kelce finding a blank space.
Now write your name.
But seriously,
She was at that game, wasn't she?
I don't know. I
pretty
think
sure
she's
she
trying
was.
to sabotage him
She might be.
because
Whenever,
she's an Eagles fan.
yeah.
I bet that song she writes about Travis Kelce though is going to be a banger.
Oh yeah. What's it gonna be called?
I don't know.
We'll have to think about that
It's getting a
one.
little late.
The Chief.
85.
85 to life. Ooh.
Ooh.
Write it up.
Ooh, I like that. Taylor, we want a percentage.
Yeah,
But-
I better not see some 85 to life. after
Hey,
the breakup.
so bringing up that though, tight end rankings for the rest of the year right now in fantasy.
TJ
Kelsey is
Hawkinson.
back now. Hawkinson, I think, might be the number one right now.
Kyle Pitts.
Off of potential, maybe.
I'm starting to feel bad for you. I didn't at first, but now it's just getting to the point where I feel awful.
It's sad to see.
He runs so good of routes. He's so
Yes.
open. He's in the end zone calling for the ball, and
Hands are up.
Desmond Ritter's
Ridder-
looking that way.
Desmond Ritter's so bad. He's so bad.
Gosh.
And that offense,
Trash. That was so tough to watch this past weekend.
they're going to win games this year though, because it's one of those frustrating things, kind of like Tennessee's offense has been in the past, where it's a run first offense. You don't know what's going to happen. Ferkser would still touchdowns away from
Derrick Henry?
no,
Johnny Smith.
Austin Hooper.
Oh,
Everybody brought in
yeah.
Austin Hooper, and they thought that he was this big, touchdown threat. And then Ferkser stealing all.
Well,
his
it's the
touchdowns.
same when Johnny Smith was there.
Yeah, same thing with Johnny Smith. Like it's going to be that frustrating type of offense. It is, but they're going to be good.
Isn't that who took catches away from you this week? Isn't Johnny Smith with them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I texted you guys.
Yeah.
I remember. I don't know if y'all remember, but
yeah.
I was like, why in the hell is Kyle Pitts got one target? And I think Johnny Smith had like 5.
Yeah. It's just a
But
And
the
Drake London.
Well, the worst part about it is if you watched it, all of the targets were literally plays drawn up for Johnny
for
Smith.
Johnny Smith. I think Kyle Pitts is the biggest just
Waste of
misdirection.
talent.
No. Well,
biggest
yeah,
what if.
That too. But he's just the biggest. Like, hey, there he is. Let's look at this. Hey, side door over here, Johnny Smith, right across the middle of the field. Like,
Put Kyle Pitts in Dallas.
dude, he would take it off because that Ferguson guy, like,
Is
Should
good.
put Kyle Pitts in Carolina and let Bryce Young throw to it.
Yeah.
yeah.
It'd be better because that's who he's going to target.
I literally think that is the absolute worst place for him.
It is. It is.
Like
He's
the
going to
worst.
waste his whole talent away right there.
I don't know. Tennessee's probably a close second.
They're
Maybe.
not targeting my boy Chig at all. Even though he's so good,
He is good too.
they're not targeting him.
Back to rankings.
Yeah.
I still think Hawkinson's 1.
I think Hawkinson's 1. I think Kelsey is 2. I think Darren Waller is 3. As long as Darren Waller's healthy,
I hope
that
he's
is the main guy that Daniel Jones is targeting, and it's nobody else. But I'll tell you another guy that's kind of sneaky. I'm not going to put him in the top 10 rankings because he's not going to get enough passes to worry about it. But he plays more downs than any other tight end in the league. Smythe or whatever his name is for Miami. He is the only tight end that plays. They don't play another tight end. Like he is their guy. And they said the reason why they let Gesicki go is because Gesicki could not run block. Like he couldn't block. And they said that Smythe is the best blocker, so that's why they wanted to keep him on the team. That's why he plays every single down too. So I mean he's getting like 5 targets. Let him get a couple of touchdowns, that dude might make it in the top 10.
Yeah.
And then Zach Ertz, like you were talking about, thing that hurts Zach Ertz is they've got a very talented tight end right behind him in Trey McBride. And Trey McBride is actually playing a lot. Each game, he's going to end up playing a lot more. This last week, I think Zach Ertz played like 60% of the snaps, I believe. He still had 8 targets, but I mean,
On the year, he's got 72 snap percent.
oh, I know he's been good so far.
Yeah. Yeah. No touchdowns, but 18 targets. I mean, he's good, but also too, Hunter Henry.
Yep. that's
Hunter
what I
Henry's
was
been
gonna
great.
say.
Hunter Henry. He's getting 85% snap rate right now. And then on top of that, 11 receptions, 108 yards, 2 touchdowns, 13 targets in 2 games.
He's been great.
Mac Jones.
Hey,
I think
He's trash, I think. But like
no, I have a
don't think-
theory.
Oh,
okay.
shit. Here we
Well,
go.
no. Think about Tom Brady, how that offense, like the Patriots offense, used to be pass first. Like they weren't a run first offense until Brady left, and they had Cam Newton who couldn't throw the ball, Mac Jones who couldn't throw the ball as a rookie, or I think he could throw the ball, but they didn't trust him, and so they just ran the ball every single time. So now we're accustomed to the Patriots being a run first offense. I think now that Mac Jones has learned the offense and they trust him, I think they're about to start airing it out a lot. So I actually really like the Patriots receivers now as fantasy options because they've aired it out twice in a row now against teams that are supposed to be good pass defense teams, and they're airing it out. So I'm really big on New England pass catchers for the long haul.
That's solid. I agree.
Yeah. Bourne's had 11 targets and 8 targets first 2 games. Devontae Parker came back last game.
He looked good.
He looked good in the little amount of time that he played. It hurts Booty a lot.
That's another one we can't bet on anymore.
Who, Devontae Parker? Why? What y'all bet on him for?
Well, another guy I like too that looked good.
What'd you bet on him for?
So me and Logan went to Vegas last year for a bachelor trip, and we went to a preseason game. And me and Logan sat there and watched this game. And there was one player that stood out to us, and it was Devontae Parker. And we both said, dude, Devontae Parker is the best player on this team. So we picked him up in every fantasy lineup we had. And Devontae Parker did not do a damn thing last year.
He was invisible last year.
He is really good, though.
He is.
Like, he's super, even when he was in Miami, super talented.
But that was another thing I was talking about, like Miami, Mostert
looked really good.
He looked really good the other night.
I don't
really
want him,
good.
though. I would sell high on him right now.
I probably would, too.
Jeff Wilson's coming back. And,
But the thing is, Miami's going to score. Mostert could be that goal line guy.
You know what's crazy to me is they're
3
having
rushing touchdowns on the year.
He looks great, but you know what's crazy to me is I keep trying to think, like Waddle really hasn't done anything this year yet. And Tyreek Hill's done so much. And I know Smythe is playing every single position, but he's not getting any targets or not getting a lot of targets. Like, who else are they? I mean, I know Barrios is getting a little bit, but Craycraft is getting a little bit. But, I mean, like, their offense is so good right now, and Tyreek Hill is getting all the work.
Tyreek Hill has 255 yards in 2 games.
It's crazy.
24 targets.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Love that.
He might be the most valuable player in fantasy football right now.
Yeah, and that's what, that was one of the things that we were talking about at the beginning of the year is like, dude, is it crazy for me to think that I kind of want to draft Tyreek Hill at the number 1 spot?
He is the most valuable player in fantasy right now, so it's not crazy.
I mean, Justin Jefferson is not far behind him. He's doing pretty well too.
Yeah, I was about to say. I mean, you can argue those two.
I think Jefferson, they're very comparable.
That's 1A, 1B.
They're both unguardable.
But you know who else is surprising me right now? And it's all because of quarterback play? Mike Evans.
Shout out to Baker.
Dude, 300. No, that's oh shit. Justin Jefferson has 309 yards on the year.
0 tutties.
Yeah, that's correct.
Did you see Mike Evans catch that long ball though?
Yeah.
And he wide open lane for a touchdown, and he's so slow now. He couldn't get there. He couldn't get it done.
Well, Keenan Allen's another one that's going off.
Yeah, Keenan Allen.
Hey, the Kellen Moore effect there is hurting that offense.
100%.
Did anyone see the thing about there was an exec or something that said that they don't think Justin Herbert's an elite quarterback?
Yeah, they're stupid.
Yeah, it is.
Justin
He is starting
Herbert.
to do ads now, though.
Justin Herbert's elite.
Yeah,
Justin Herbert has been elite through these first 2 games, and Keenan Allen was one of our. Actually, I said that I would take Keenan Allen super early this year, maybe 2nd round, and you were like,
I don't think I disagreed with you because I was real big on the Keenan Allen comeback train.
I disagreed with you.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. All right. Who do you think has the most targets on the year right now from the receiving aspect?
Puka?
Yeah, Puka.
35 for Puka.
Yeah. He had 15 first game.
35. That is absolutely nuts.
Yeah. And then it's probably Jefferson.
I don't know. Elijah Moore is probably not far.
Kendrick Bourne has got to be top 10.
For targets?
Yeah, he's got like 20 targets right now. I know that.
Kendrick Bourne has 20 targets right now, and he's 8th.
Exactly.
He's right behind T. Higgins, which has 20 targets, which is wild to me.
That's insane.
Nico Collins, 20 targets. Chris Olave, 21 targets. Michael Pittman, 23. Tyreek Hill, 24. Jefferson, 25. And then Puka has 35.
Yeah, when we're talking about receivers like that, I think there's 2 that you can look at, and we're only 2 weeks in, but I think Puka and Nico Collins are the 2 that you can count on for that to continue throughout the year.
There's nobody else.
Just nobody else.
But
and you could have got them undrafted or in the last round, which is where we got.
Well,
and there's some leagues out there they might both still be available.
Yeah.
Well, and there's another guy while we're on that same topic that we talked about on here, and that was Tank Dell.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another guy.
20 fantasy points this last week.
You need to pick him up.
Yeah. A lot of those guys, I value Nico Collins, Puka, maybe Tank Dell, and maybe Michael Pittman above Garrett Wilson now.
Yeah, I mean,
I think so.
I saw a thing today that people were talking about that whole Jets offense, and they said, I'm not saying it would be great for the team, but bringing Jameis to the Jets would definitely save Garrett Wilson's season, and it would make it a whole lot more entertaining.
He's going to air it out.
And I want to see the interviews afterwards.
But I'll tell you this, though. Zach Wilson, he didn't look that bad. Mm-hmm. He really didn't. The first game, take the Bills, that first Bills game out of the equation because he came in mid-game. He came in early on, wasn't prepared to play. Like he just wasn't. His first game of the year, playing Bills who have
you don't expect to play, especially that early.
No, and they have a really good pass rush. And then the second game, you played the greatest defense maybe ever assembled, and you have Michael Parsons staring you down.
Best player in football right now.
I would shit myself if I was looking across the line and I saw Michael Parsons staring me down.
Is that a conversation? He's the best. Is that even a conversation right now? He's the best player in football, Michael Parsons.
He's the best defensive player
now, yeah.
But T.J. Watt's up there. T.J. Watt's very
Watt
good,
is up there.
and Nick Bosa is very good.
But I think this is Michael Parsons.
But this is Michael Parsons' time. It is. He is scary. And he's very good.
Speaking of scary, did y'all see the video from week 1 of Geno when Aaron Donald was chasing him down? Did you see the voiceover when he's like, "Oh my god"?
Yeah.
But another guy. What are y'all thinking about DeAndre Swift now?
Don't give me DeAndre Swift because the 1 week that you start him, like next week, you're going to start him next week because he just put up 29 and he's going to be projected for probably 14 on fantasy. So you're going to start him next week. They might give him 3 carries next week.
Yeah.
So I don't want any part of that right now. If you start him every week, you're going to have some hits, but you're going to have a lot of losses too. I hate that.
Well, that's the Swift
effect.
Yeah, that's the story of his career. 1 week he goes for 35, and you're like, okay, now we're gonna have.
But it's not him though; it's his coaching. It's his coaching staff,
and it was with the Lions too.
Yeah,
because they would force feed Jamal Williams 40 times, and then the next game they force feed DeAndre Swift. Just like the other night, they force fed him, and he ate. He could have had 50 fantasy points the other night if Jalen Hurts didn't steal his touchdowns in the end zone.
I agree.
He would have had maybe a record-setting fantasy game.
No, I completely agree. Back to the Jets, with them not having Aaron Rodgers for the rest of this year, and with how poorly Dalvin Cook has been playing, what is the projection for Breece Hall moving forward?
More than 4 carries like he got last time.
Yeah.
You see how mad he was? He tweeted 4 football emojis. ..
That's nuts. He's a talent, dude.
He is.
I mean, and they said they were going to wean him back into it, which I fully respect.
But going into the season, we believe that he was more healthy than Dalvin Cook was.
Yeah. I mean,
he was back practicing before Dalvin Cook.
But you can see also that conditioning's not there because he had that breakaway run in week 1 and he started slowing down, and once he got to about the 20, you can see conditioning's not there. So I fully understand.
But we're in week 3 now.
But you also risk Dalvin Cook against a Dallas defense like that. I would much rather put Dalvin Cook in the fire and let him get hurt rather than risk your future getting hurt in Breece Hall, because that's the type of defense that can hurt you.
Right. No, I completely agree.
Like, they scare people. So that's my thinking. I think that Dallas game is not the actual Jets team that you're going to see for the rest of that Dallas game. That's not the same Jets team you're going to see.
Right.
And I think Zach Wilson's going to be a lot better. And I think Zach Wilson is better than any of these quarterbacks that are on free agency right now that you could get. The only one that could replace Zach Wilson and actually do a better job right now would be a player that could possibly be had in a trade, and that's our boy Gardner Minshew. Other than that, I don't think there's a quarterback available that can do better than Zach Wilson.
I agree. What about the situation going into this week? Right now, Saquon Barkley was just listed as did not practice again for the second straight day. Right ankle sprain. Matt Breida is available in like 93% of leagues right now. Is that a pickup? What are you doing with that?
I think that's going to be the Danny Dimes show. I think
it's Danny Dimes.
Yeah, Danny Dimes is going to run the ball.
Right.
There's going to be a lot of people pick him up and start him, and he's not going to do anything.
It was just an ordinary ankle sprain. What they're saying is what they're classifying it as, quote unquote, ordinary.
Yeah.
So
Danny Dimes almost had 90 yards rushing last game and a rushing touchdown. But back to Matt Breida real quick. He was pretty good when he was in San Francisco there for a little bit. So
yeah,
maybe play a little bit of a comeback game there. Maybe.
No, I agree. What about the Seattle running back situation with Kenneth Walker right now? Last week he found the end zone twice.
So I watched that whole game. I love Kenneth Walker, and I think Kenneth Walker is a really good talent.
He's a hometown guy.
He is. Arlington. But the problem with that game was, and I bet on Kenneth Walker to have like over 15.5 reception or receiving yards. they played Kenneth Walker for like 6 straight downs, and they would let him run. They would let him go out for receiving work and everything. But then they'd bring Charbonnet in, and Charbonnet would play for 12 plays. And there was no getting just Kenneth Walker a break. It was like, no, Kenneth Walker's going to get this drive. Charbonnet's going to get this drive. It wasn't just getting him a break and getting him back in. So that does scare me a little bit. And I also think Charbonnet is that good too, that it does scare me.
Yeah.
So I don't
he's good.
I don't want a part of that backfield either.
When we're talking about running back situations, I had an argument with somebody the other day about the David Montgomery Gibbs situation. What do you think now that David Montgomery's injury?
I mean, Gibbs is going to take off. His production's already going up.
They're about to let Craig Reynolds have the same amount of work that David Montgomery just had.
See, I think Gibbs is going to get more and more production as the season goes on. That's what they said.
They're going to get more production out of him, but they're not going to let him run between the tackles like they were.
I mean, you got to think though. He's going to get catches.
He is. He's going to get more
that,
receiving.
And I want him from a fantasy standpoint. That's what I'm looking at. Is that he's an RB1.
But my whole thing, especially now that Montgomery's injured, is I want Gibbs as a Montgomery owner. I want Gibbs to take over the same way that Swift did, because I want Montgomery getting all those end zone carries the same way that Jamal Williams did last year. Because I can argue that Montgomery is a better running back than Jamal Williams.
Oh, I think so. Montgomery was really good in Chicago.
With
Chicago's
a horrible offensive line.
That offense is horrible too.
Yeah.
No, Montgomery has been good so far, but they're not going to let Gibbs run it between the tackles. That's going to be Craig Reynolds. And I think if you want to know the main beneficiary from this Dave Montgomery injury, Amon-Ra St. Brown, because they're about to throw more.
Didn't he just get hurt?
He's all right.
did, but he's okay.
Yeah.
I saw something today, and I don't know how true it is, but I saw that Dan Campbell actually blamed Jahmyr Gibbs for an interception last week.
I did see that.
Said that Gibbs he wasn't confident in the route or something and ran the wrong route, and that's why the interception was thrown.
I love Dan Campbell.
Yeah, that's a football guy.
I like him, dude.
Hey, but not saying I love Gibbs, and I wish they would let him just be a full-on bell cow back and let him just get all the work, because I love Gibbs.
Is that why you traded your second pick in the Dynasty draft this year?
It hurt me, but it was I mean, he was offering me Olave, a first rounder, and Alexander Madison, which I turned into Tony Pollard.
Yeah.
But I love Gibbs. And I said before the year, Gibbs was the best running back in this draft.
Which is not holding up right now. But that's okay, because it's still a good take.
He's super talented.
Yeah, and still early in the year.
Bijan is really, really good.
Bijan does play for the Falcons.
Yeah.
But going into that, so fantasy takeaway, what is your one breakaway guy going into this next week that you are just to close it out here, what's your breakaway guy for this next week coming up? Mine, I would have to say, I think Calvin Ridley has a big bounce back week. They're playing Houston. I could see him easily scoring a touchdown this week. Anytime touchdown, that'd be a solid bet, I think, on that one. Lull week last week, I think they come back and perform pretty well.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't really looked at many matchups this week coming up because I'm kind of waiting. My rule is to always try to wait till Thursday to look at fantasy matchups, just because I'll change my lineups 6 times between now and then.
Right.
But I will tell you, I do think that Gibbs does have a good week just for strictly receiving work, because I think that they are playing. Who is it that they are playing this week? Ooh. Hey, I'll tell you what. That Minnesota Chargers game, absolute shootout. Jordan, this might be Jordan. I'm rocking with that. Jordan Addison, this is Jordan Addison's breakout game. Maybe 30 fantasy points.
Okay, that's cool.
Back to your point, the Lions are playing the Falcons.
Damn, that's going to be Falcons going to screw that up.
Gibbs going to go a lot of production.
I don't know, dude.
A lot more than he has.
I don't know. They might let him work a little bit and say, hey, we got the better draft pick here. And let Bijan and Gibbs go back and forth.
Yeah, that'd be cool to see.
That would be cool to see.
I'll tune in for that one. I might put that on the split screen.
Hey, and Laporta versus Kyle Pitts. Laporta gets all the targets.
Laporta versus Johnny Smith.
versus Johnny Smith.
What do you think, Gruber?
I wanted to go with Kyron Williams again, but they're playing on Monday night this week, so that terrifies me.
Damn.
We got some good teams playing on Monday night this week too. We got the Eagles and the Bucks, and we got the Rams and the Bengals.
I love the double Monday night games.
I do too. It's great for DFS. Hey, also Eagles, they're not right now. The Eagles are not right. They don't. I know we talked about DeAndre Swift looking good, but as everything else, they don't look good. Jalen Hurts does not look good. Devontae Smith looks good. A.J. Brown, pissed off.
I understand. For sure.
They got some issues there. Their D-line is the only thing that does not have issues.
But just for sake of this segment, I'll go with Kyron Williams. The Bengals gave up 62 yards to Gus Edwards, 41 yards to Justice Hill, and then another 54 to Lamar Jackson on the ground last week. So I think I'll take Kyron Williams in this matchup.
A lot of numbers.
I'm taking the Rams to win that game, too.
Any final takes?
You don't got big germs?
My last call?
you were a lot.
Hey, no, hang on. Time out. I got a question for Big Germ here. What's your strategy moving forward here with Najee Harris and Deshaun Watson? What are you going to do here? And Derrick Henry. You got to make a move on Derrick Henry, too. Tajay Spears is stealing snaps there as well. What's your move this year? You going to try to upgrade or you going to ride them?
I'm more worried about Jalen Warren with Najee than I am Spears with Henry, just because Spears and Henry are two completely different backs, and I feel like Warren is definitely taking over a more prominent role than Najee, which does upset me. But I do need to do something at running back.
Are you gonna start Najee this week, or are you gonna start Gus Edwards?
Well, it depends on what my waiver wire does tomorrow. I'll find out.
Who'd you put in claims?
Hours.
Who'd you put in claims for? So I can see if I put in claims for him.
It don't matter. I'm ahead of you in the waiver wire this week.
Oof.
I guess by the time this gets out, it'll already be over. I put one in for Jerome Ford. As soon as Chubb went down, I was like waiver.
You know what's bad
Then
though?
I went Twitter.
I picked Jerome Ford up in that league too, and I dropped him the same time I dropped him in our league. Yeah.
Because it looked good last night after Chubb went out. Jerome Ford did.
He did. I saw somebody say that they were talking a lot of shit about Jerome Ford. They said take that 70-yard run away, and Jerome Ford doesn't do it. It doesn't do anything. And somebody was like, take every good play away from every running back, and all their other plays suck. And it's like you can't look at it that way. Jerome Ford's in a Nick Chubb, and we talked about this. Nick Chubb, in our opinion, was arguably the most valuable running back coming into the fantasy season. If you're going for 1 year, the most valuable running back ahead of Austin Eckler and all those. And so now you plug Jerome Ford, who's not as good as Nick Chubb, but in that same role. Jerome Ford potentially top 15, top 12 back for the rest of the year.
I agree with that.
I agree.
Unless they bring in Big Kareem.
And he turned a lot of things that were supposed to be nothing into something.
Yeah, and apparently he's got good hands too.
I don't know anything about him other than that. I mean, I got a small sample size last night.
Just as long as he stays out of the massage parlors with Deshaun.
One last thing before we go off is I saw a tweet today that said Travis Etienne, now that Chubb's down, is officially a top 5 running back for the year. Not to pound my own drum, but
Yeah.
Hey,
I'll give you a must start this week.
who?
He had a very rough week 1. Only had, I think, 3 targets week 1, but he had a bounce back week 2. Christian Kirk. They're playing the Texans this week. I think
you're the person I thought of when Christian Kirk was catching all those passes Sunday.
I think
He had like 15 targets.
He had a ton of points.
Yeah.
I told so many people not to start Chris Kirk.
yeah.
I played him in
They found
almost every one of my DFS lineups.
They found their rhythm back, and they're playing the Texans. So give me Christian Kirk. And as far as my last call goes, guys, a little marital advice for you: find a woman that pulls for the Dallas Cowboys, because she will not be expecting a ring anytime soon. That's my last call.
While we're on Christian Kirk, I think Jacob's quote was, as sure as Santa Claus sleeps on December 26th, Christian Kirk will have a bounce back week 2 as soon as I decide to drop him.
You dropped him?
No, I didn't. I think Jacob said something about he was thinking about it.
Oh, yeah, he
and
was
then-
thinking about dropping him, yeah.
I didn't drop him, but I did bench him, and unfortunately I did. So he will be in my starting lineup week 3. Playing
Go
against
ahead
Houston.
and get 1 point, 1 target.
I like it. But the problem with that offense is they're kind of like San Francisco, like we talked about earlier. They have a lot of mouths to feed.
They
Like,
do, but before they had all the mouths, Trevor Lawrence and Christian Kirk had a lot of chemistry, and I think he found that chemistry last week. But Lawrence is one of those quarterbacks. Once he gets going with somebody early, he kind of sticks with that person. And like I said, he found that chemistry back. And with them playing Houston this week, you got to start him week 3. If you got Christian Kirk, put him in your starting lineup.
I agree. I think it's all about matchups in that offense too.
Mm-hmm.
Because week 1, like you said, Ridley was eating.
Mm-hmm.
And then week 2, he went to Ridley early on, but they had Ridley locked down on the outside. And so he just started feeding it to Kirk. And Kirk was getting most of his – I watched a lot of that game too. Most of his yards came from screenplays.
Mm-hmm.
He'd catch it at the line of scrimmage and get 15 yards off of good blocks from Zay Jones and Calvin Ridley on the same side.
Mm-hmm.
So
in the PPR league, though, what more could you ask for?
Oh, no, it's perfect. It's perfect. So I like it. I like that team as a whole throughout the year too. But
I agree.
what's your last call?
I think, Calvin Ridley just has a bounce back week. I think that's my last call.
So you've heard it here. Jaguars are putting up 75 points.
I think they're going to have a bounce back week. I'm hoping.
Trevor Lawrence is putting up the greatest statistical game ever by a quarterback. All right, Gruber, you playing Evan Ingram this week?
No.
I'm playing Evan Ingram over Kyle Pitts' ass.
I am playing Travis Etienne.
It's settled. They're putting up 75.
Right on.
It's
All
the
right.
AFC South matchup.
I'm playing Tank Dale. That's going to be a game of the century.
Cool,
I'll
cool.
pick up the defense if they're available.
I like it.
All right, close up, man.
Good. Well, this is Last Call Sports. A lot of hot takes, a lot of good picks. Remember to always take Texas 14.5. We'll see you later.